Kunjani Menon is a desperate thief who turns to robbery to survive in a harsh world. Struggling with poverty and limited choices, he relies on crime as his only for living. He is a man of quick wit and unmatched cunning, had long admired Lakshmi, the determined and strong-willed police constable. However, he knew that winning her heart wouldn't be easy, especially since she had often mentioned that she would only marry a policeman. Kunjani, though a thief, was resourceful and never shied away from using his cleverness to achieve his goals. One day, while trailing Lakshmi from a distance, he overheard her talking about her desire to marry a man in uniform. This piece of information set Kunjani's mind into motion, and he decided that if he couldn't become a police constable by his own means, he would simply pretend to be one. Vasudev Shenoy, Lakshmi's colleague at the police station, also harbored feelings for her and, unlike Kunjani, Vasudev Shenoy was genuinely working to prove himself as a worthy partner. However, his mother was not pleased with his choice of a bride, leading to constant tension between Shenoy and his family. Despite his mother's objections, Shenoy was steadfast in his desire to marry Lakshmi, believing that with enough time, he could change his mother's mind. But Kunjani, ever the opportunist, was quick to act. Disguised as a police constable, he presented himself as a man of honor and duty, one who could provide the stability and security Lakshmi longed for. His quick thinking and charm won her over, and before Shenoy could convince his mother to approve of the marriage, Kunjani had already married Lakshmi, securing his place in her life. However, Shenoy, though initially disappointed by this turn of events, he eventually married another woman, and as fate would have it, both couples were blessed with baby boys on the same day. This coincidence, while unremarkable on the surface, served as a reminder of the strange twists and turns in life. Despite the complex beginnings, both couples found happiness in their own way, with their sons growing up side by side, unaware of the odd circumstances that brought their families together. Lakshmi finds out that Kunjani has cheated her. He was never a policeman as he claimed to be. They pretend to have an amicable marriage. They both put on a facade, maintaining a sense of peace for the sake of their children's, even though the trust between them is shattered. A young Adityan still believes his father to be a policeman, having no clue about the truth of his father's past. As he grows up, he and Shenoy's son, Vikram, become rivals in school and start competing with each other in everything from academics to sports. They push each other to excel, constantly trying to outdo one another. In the midst of their rivalry, they begin wagering that the loser should salute the winner, a challenge that becomes a tradition between them. This playful habit continues into their adulthood, serving as a reminder of their years of competition. Despite Adityan's best efforts and determination, he always ends up losing. This defeat, though harmless in the beginning, becomes a symbol of his ongoing struggle with his identity and the unspoken truths of his family. One day, Kunjani is caught red-handed by Shenoy and his team while attempting a theft and is paraded throughout the street as the crowd mocks him. His every step is a painful reminder of his disgrace, and the weight of the humiliation crashes down on him. Unable to face a distraught Adityan, whose eyes reflect both disappointment and sorrow, and berated by Lakshmi, whose voice cuts deeper than the crowd's jeers, Kunjani is overwhelmed with guilt and shame, feeling like there is no escape from his mistakes. Kunjani commits suicide. Years later, Vikram grows up into a hard-working young man, earning respect for his dedication and commitment to his goals, while Adityan, weighed down by his past and lack of ambition, becomes quite lazy and resorts to petty illegal activities to earn some quick pocket money. His actions, a far cry from his former self, frustrate those around him, especially Vikram, who has taken a more disciplined path. In the midst of it all, Adityan falls in love with Deepika, who is both their close friend, and this bond deepens despite the differences in their lifestyles. Once the duo passes their degrees, both decide to apply for the C selection test, seeing it as a way to prove themselves and turn their lives around. Though the two share a healthy rivalry, their competitive spirit pushing them to excel, Shenoy, still harboring bitterness from the past, becomes spiteful towards Adityan, who unexpectedly outranks Vikram in the preliminary round. Despite this, Vikram, never one to shy away from acknowledging talent, acknowledges Adityan's superior intellect and displays a deep respect for his rival, realizing that their journey and struggles, though different, have shaped them both in unique ways. Shenoy traps Adityan in a narcotics case, fabricating evidence and ensuring the charges stick. Desperate to put him behind bars, Shenoy guards the evidence personally, confident that his scheme will succeed. But in a surprising twist, Adityan is saved when Vikram, determined to protect his friend, secretly swaps the evidence with lactose powder, rendering the case useless. Adityan, overwhelmed with gratitude, approaches Vikram, acknowledging the depth of their bond. He reveals that the respect they hold for each other is mutual, and despite their rivalry, they are bound by a silent understanding. In a final, desperate attempt to bring Adityan down, Shenoy goes to Lakshmi, using her past guilt and emotions against her. He convinces her that he is the one who swapped the evidence, and asks for a favor in return, to help ensure that Adityan's path is forever blocked. Lakshmi, torn but swayed by his manipulation, hides the interview memo that was meant for Adityan, making sure only Vikram's name appears on the list for the final exam. Devastated by this betrayal, Adityan confronts Lakshmi, accusing her of being complicit in Kunjani's death. His voice cracks with anger and pain as he tells her that, had she truly cared, she could have changed him, and perhaps prevented everything from spiraling out of control. Feeling utterly alone, Adityan disappears into the night, leaving behind a broken world and unanswered questions. 2 years later, Vikram, now a proud sub-inspector, C, takes charge on the day of Shenoy's retirement, stepping into a position he once dreamed of. Among the notable guests at the ceremony, new sub-collector Lokesh arrives as a surprise, extending his warm congratulations to the father-son duo. His unexpected presence raises a few eyebrows, but he has a story to tell. Lokesh reveals that during a train journey to Delhi, he crossed paths with Adityan, who, in a moment of utter despair, had been on the brink of taking his own life. Sensing the pain in Adityan's eyes, Lokesh stopped him, offering a shoulder to lean on. The two bonded during the journey, and as time passed, they became close friends and even roommates, sharing their lives and struggles in the city. Lokesh, recognizing Adityan's potential, insisted that he prepare for the UPSC exams. Despite doing odd jobs in between to make ends meet, Adityan pushed forward, determined to turn his life around. Together, they cleared the exam, a triumph that marked the beginning of a new chapter for both. As the gathering listens intently, Lokesh reveals that Adityan, through his relentless hard work and dedication, has now become an IPS officer in the Kerala cadre and has been posted as the Assistant Commissioner of Police, ACP, making him Shenoy and Vikram's superior. This revelation takes everyone by surprise, but none more than Shenoy, who is left with no choice but to accept his defeat. With a deep, begrudging respect, Shenoy salutes Adityan, acknowledging the extraordinary journey he has made from the depths of despair to the heights of success. Satisfied with the sweet taste of his revenge, Adityan decides not to tell Vikram about his rise or his ultimate triumph over Shenoy. He believes that the time for rivalry has passed, and there's no need to add fuel to a fire that's already been extinguished. But Vikram, ever perceptive and deeply respectful of his friend, eventually discovers the truth. He learns about Adityan's success, his new role as ACP, and the incredible journey he has undertaken to reach the top. At a public event, Vikram can no longer hold back his admiration. With a sense of pride and respect, he salutes Adityan in front of everyone, acknowledging not just his position but the strength it took to get there. The gesture is sincere, and the crowd watches as Vikram, without hesitation, embraces Adityan. In that moment, all the rivalry, pain, and struggles between them fade away, leaving only the bond of true friendship. As they hold each other in a brief but meaningful embrace, Vikram smiles and says, "You've come a long way, my friend. Now, it's my turn to catch up with you." He pauses before adding, "But before that, I think you should accept Deepika's love. She's waited long enough." Adityan, stunned and touched by Vikram's words, finally realizes the weight of what he's been running from. The embrace symbolized not only the end of their rivalry but also the beginning of a new chapter, one where they can stand side by side, no longer as rivals, but as true companions in life's journey. The movie concludes emotionally as the rivalry between Vikram and Adityan evolves into a deep bond of respect and friendship. Adityan comes to terms with his past, realizing that his identity isn't defined by his father's deception. Vikram understands that true victory lies in personal growth, not just in winning. In a heartfelt moment, the two men, once fierce rivals, embrace as friends, with their tradition of saluting each other now symbolizing mutual respect and the healing of old wounds. The film beautifully conveys the journey of self-realization, the power of forgiveness, and the strength to move on from the past.